All right, folks, it's 9:30. I'm going to call this meeting of the Camden County Commission to order.
Greg Hasty.
Here.
Bill Thomas. Don Williams. Here.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All second. Those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
I don't have them ready.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to table the minutes.
Second.
Those in favor? Motion, aye. Motion carries. All right, well, as previously stated, the first thing up on the agenda at 9:30 this morning was Camden County Lodging District. They contacted us with regard to wanting to meet with the commission. We put it on the agenda. They have now told us that they're not going to be here and apparently haven't left any information with regard to rescheduling the meeting. So I guess the next thing up on the agenda is,
So wasn't we heard from their lawyer?
I think that's what he said. Yeah, it was the attorney for the lodging district contacted. So we weren't going to do P&Z until 10 o'clock, so I don't know whether they're, we'll just,
Charlie's,
She's on her way.
she's on the way.
okay.
But it was scheduled at 10, she said.
That might be a problem for us because if it's scheduled for 10, the people
Whale
that,
witnesses showing up.
yeah, no, almost without question, there'll be some people here to present their case. We're probably going to have to wait till 10.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's
Yeah. I'd make a motion that we recess until 10 o'clock so that the girls from planning and zoning can get their stuff and,
I'll second.
okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're in recess until 10 o'clock for the P&Z free zones.
They didn't show up, is there still a business district meeting?
No, we were gonna meet.
Constituents that pay taxes for that group can't talk?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
She said the constituents that pay taxes shouldn't be allowed to talk. I mean, I think she brings a valid point.
The lodging tax, people actually pay lodging.
Well, I mean,
tax?
folks, we're here, I mean, even though we're not, I mean, the lodging tax folks wanted to visit with us. We put it on the agenda. They are apparently not coming. But hey, we work for you guys, so if you want to visit about things, we can. I don't know. We don't know what they were, why they even wanted to meet with us. I know that there's a court order and that they have to meet with us. But what they were going to propose in relation to that, I don't know.
So you guys are saying that you're open to just kind of talk to the community right now? Because I think that's a great idea with everything that's
Well,
going on.
I always am. I mean, I
That's
think
great.
we are.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that because I have a lot of questions.
Now, keep in mind right now that we've gone into recess, so we're just sitting here right now.
Yeah, and then that's fine. I mean, can we just sit here and talk like
Sure.
civil humans? I mean, I'm okay with that if you guys are.
Yeah.
I have some questions that I was really wondering. I, as a baseball coach, I think that I try to teach my kids, you know, that sometimes losing, we got to learn to lose with integrity, and that sometimes, you know, everybody's not going to be perfect. In this world where everybody gets trophies and stuff, sometimes it's important to learn to lose and to learn from your mistakes. And everybody makes mistakes. I've recently made mistakes. I mean, I own them, and I'll sit down and talk with anybody about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's human, you know. We're all human. We all make mistakes. From this point, I want to know. There's certain things that I really want to talk about. The gravel situation, I think that the community really wants to know what's going on there. With the gravel and how some gravel got delivered to a private residence. And
Well, I can answer that one
Yes, sir.
pretty short and sweet for you. I have probably done a dozen to 2 dozen cases in relation to, I believe it's section 228, 190. People, look, we've got approximately 1,000 miles of road in Camden County. And if you have ever seen an original township map of any of the townships of Camden County, those lands were divided off in the 1830s up to about 1840 into squares and sold off. There were no roads shown on any of those maps other than a few trails that existed prior to the survey. So all the roads that we have in Camden County, about 95% of them, there's no deed or document on record whatsoever. And it is a highly litigated area of dispute that has existed in counties all over the state for a long time, because all the other counties were in the same boat. So people will get into disputes about roadway and
What if it says private property on the end of the road? Now, wouldn't that mean that it becomes a private road?
well, let me just finish.
Okay.
Let me
Yes,
just
sir.
finish.
Yes, sir, my bad.
There have been in court cases throughout this state over a long period of time. It's based on the individual circumstances of each road, but you've got literally hundreds of decisions with regard to roads like this. And it all depends on the circumstances. With regard to private easements, you know, typically 10 years, if it's been there for 10 years, it's been used, that can create a situation where there's a prescriptive easement. But when it comes to county roadways, there's a very clear-cut process, because keep in mind, as I said before, about 95% of the roads in this county, and virtually every other county in the state, you folks have got plenty of time to set up and get going, because we're not starting until 10.
Right, okay.
Do you know, Tana, if we have any people coming for this one?
I would assume so, but I'm not.
Okay, that's what I think.
So at any rate, this is a relatively common thing to have take place. I can remember one that I had back in the late 1980s, I believe, where out on Lake Road 713, there was a county roadway, and all the descriptions of all these properties on both sides were written right down the center line of the road. And this became a Court of Appeals, one of the classic cases for the state of Missouri, one of the ones they always refer to. And so there were property owners on both sides of this beautiful point that had land there. And most of them were weekend residents. The one guy at the beginning wasn't. So some of these folks came down on the weekend and found a 10-foot high chain link fence set in concrete down the middle of this road, which had always been maintained by the county. A litigation ensued on that, and even though it hadn't been maintained for a long time by the county, the outcome of it was they had people come into court and testify that back in the 1940s that it was maintained by the county. People came in, and there was testimony to the fact that this became, well, under section 228, I believe I've got it right, 228-190. Charlie, can you remember?
280-190. Pretty sure.
I may not have that quote.
190, I'm sure about.
It's 190. I believe it's 228-190.
You could be right.
At any rate, the court deemed that was a county roadway, even though it hadn't been made since 1945. Under the statute, county funds had been expended on it, and it was never closed. It was always open. Someone was always going through it. So that was a hallmark case. The chain link fence had to come out. But there have been a lot of cases like that that have gone both ways. And it depends on the individual circumstances. The county commission has to act on this just simply based on the evidence that's put in front of us. When we and honestly, the guy came in, people come into the commission office complaining about roads every day. I dealt with one on Monday, almost the exact same circumstances. All I did was just simply forward the thing to Pat or Road and Bridge. I read the lady's email. She was down by the county line. And this was on, I believe, on Monday of this week. I didn't do anything to it except forward to Pat. She went out and took care of it. Or Pat went out and took care of it, and the lady was pleased that someone had actually responded to her. Well, this was a county roadway that had been there a long time, but we were apparently just weren't maintaining it. And she'd been,
That was the one out at the edge of the county?
it was around Stoutland on the county line between Camden and Laclede. And the Laclede portion of the roadway was really nice, and ours was really bad.
Do you guys vote for anything ever to do with the?
Yeah,
road
we don't
department?
vote.
What roads,
But-
what?
Let me just explain.
Oh.
On things like, I've got a pothole, I've got a complaint about my road, you haven't taken care of my road. We get those literally every day. Someone either comes into the commission office, calls, or emails. I'd say at least daily.
So what are the ones you do vote
Pretty
on?
close.
We just forward them, we either forward, if it's an email form, I just simply, whoever gets it, and a lot of it depends on, we just simply forward them to Pat. And if they're a county roadway, boom, we go out and try to fix them as quickly as we can.
Now, that statute that you quoted, that statute also says that if it hasn't been maintained after 10 years, it goes back to the private landowner, correct?
No.
Yes, it does. On the end of the statute, it does say it. Now, second of all,
No,
you wrote
no,
a letter. No, let me talk, because you've run the clock down quite a bit. You wrote a letter to these landowners last year stating that it was at best a prescriptive easement, didn't you? Did you or did you not write a letter?
Oh, yeah,
You did write a letter, thank you. Now, secondly, as far as the county ever maintaining it, you all are going off of the words of one man. You're a surveyor. You go down to that county recorder of deeds down there and you'll see in 1993 the road was incorporated. And it was 7/10 of a mile from 5 Highway, which was Old 5. From Old 5 to that dead end, it's exactly 7/10 of a mile. If you look at your cart map, the road goes straight. It doesn't make a 90-degree left and go down those people's property. Not at all. So, as a surveyor, are you willing to bet your license that this is indeed a county road? On the record. Because if you're wrong, I want your license.
Well, what you want doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, well, I just want it on the record.
Yeah, I just want
on the record.
This isn't Facebook.
No, this isn't. You're right.
What this is based on statute and case law and the information provided to the commission. I believe that the testimony of the former, and I'm not mentioning names, but this former road and bridge administrator, to my mind, his integrity is without question. So if he provides, and I want to clarify something. You don't know as much as you think you know. I'm sure you're very, very intelligent, but I've probably testified for 50 hours and seen case after case after case in relation to this law.
Did a judge declare you unfit as a witness in court?
No.
They didn't declare you a liar in court?
They said in that particular case that my testimony was not as credible. And I'm going to just step back on that one.
Okay.
The judge is retired. The person involved is retired.
Mhm.
You people need to realize that beyond the scope of what might occur with the case, there are always some politics involved in every litigation. And I'm going to leave that where it's at.
It seems like property boundaries are pretty.
But, well, this is very simple.
And if it's private property, it's private property. I mean, like you said,
And
there's lines.
if it's
all right
public
there.
property,
It's
and
all
if
right
it's
there.
public
Like it says, I
property,
mean,
it's
it
public
shouldn't be so
property.
disputed.
Now, in the Lake Sun, you said that Larry Coleman came last week and talked to you, and you called
Yeah.
Charlie and had Charlie talked to the road and bridge.
Yeah, I actually confirmed, what I did.
But
is
he
I-
called you last week, or came in your office last
He
week,
came in
right?
the office last week.
Now, Donnie, you said that he called you several weeks ago, and that you talked to the road and bridge supervisor in the Lakeside. So, which one?
Both.
You both did. You both talked to the road and bridge.
She called me, I called the road bridge supervisor.
I didn't talk to anyone until, what,
Last May?
Yeah, last
the
week.
first time
From
that
what
I
he, from what he
called
told
and
me,
asked
it
you
sounded like it
to
might be a county road.
gravel
I
road.
told him you're gonna need to come in and talk to Greg and Beth.
When else have you guys went this far out of your way for a could-be county road?
I've done
I'm pretty
it.
sure that most people, if they came in and said, I have a mile-long driveway that I need gravelled, and it was a county road back in 1961 or whatever, you guys would probably look at the maps and say, sorry, we don't have the money.
Well, you can be pretty sure, but you'd be pretty wrong, because it's actually happened several times since I've been in office.
That you guys
it
are
happened
taking
on,
over
it
the
happened
road.
on Monday of this week.
But
Then
why
you-
wouldn't you fix roads like McCubbin's Point as opposed to a 1 mile of private drive that nobody goes on when you
It's
got
been a
public
year and a
that's
half
using?
since I asked
Or,
for my culverts.
I mean, there's so many roads that could be fixed.
Yeah, she needed a $250 quote.
I'm opening a commercial business and it's been a year and a half, and a guy asked you 3 weeks ago to gravel his private road.
Yeah,
Are
honestly.
you seriously right now?
There's not even a house on it. There's a barn.
To be honest with you,
Here's
this is
what you
I
don't
heard,
understand.
the
This is
first
governed
I've
by
heard that you
statute.
weren't done.
We don't actually
Well,
have a
you know
choice.
what, you guys are in charge of
You
that,
don't
and
have
that
a
comes up
choice.
to you
We
guys,
don't
and
have
that's
a choice.
pretty
Well, I mean, no
disappointing.
one
Statute's
brought it to
governed
me.
whether it's
Well, I don't know,
considered
maybe
public
go out
highway.
there and look, maybe follow up.
So,
Like he
It's
said,
your
like
job.
the RSMO
It's not my
we
job
told
to
you,
follow
I'm
up,
pretty sure.
make sure you
We
guys
have
do
1,000
your job.
miles of roadway.
But you have no
County
problem with
1,001.
creating a
Later
private gravel
on,
road
twice
3
in
weeks
10
ago?
years, It's considered a
I'm
county
done,
road.
but
There's
that's
only two ways
a
the county
really
can abandon
lame
a road.
excuse.
You go through the official vacate process, or if the county stops maintaining it for 10 years and the public stops using it for 5 years, then it's considered abandoned.
well, like Nathan said, it hadn't been done for 10 years and we don't use it if it's.
Yeah, we got the
private
aerial
road.
shots.
Look,
every year.
I'm just trying to
The public
understand, I'm
has never
trying to
used Larry
understand. And I know
Coleman.
there's
Okay,
a lot of
look,
people
let
that
me
are
go
trying-
right back to
Please don't
this.
get upset with me,
The-
I'm just trying, I'm
the
trying to
beginning
understand.
question. If there's any evidence to show that this is a county roadway, we're going to act in accordance with section 228-190, and I might have that wrong, but I believe I've got it right. If there's evidence to show otherwise, I've been in court again and again and again where one witness walked up, and typically it's the road and bridge administrator, and they testify with regard to what they seen and what took place. We have evidence to show, at the time we made that decision, pretty clear-cut evidence that it was a county roadway.
Right.
But keep in mind, this is all something that will probably end up being decided by a court.
So
And
kind
our
of
opinion,
still.
our opinion is just an opinion that we react as a government.
I
The
have,
courts are the only one that can decide these issues.
I understand, and it seems like we're almost at a standstill with this one, so I have 3 more questions, just 3 more simple
Well,
questions.
we've got a guy right back here that
One-
wants to
just
ask
please,
something.
let me talk just for
Just
one.
real quick, and I'm gonna take a little bit different approach.
Okay,
I just.
Go for it.
All right. I just, since we're talking and open, I really appreciate you guys talking, and I just have some serious questions about the building next door. I wanna know why there wasn't an appraisal upon it. I wanna know why there wasn't closing costs, and I'm curious as to why there's a loan, because if the public is paying for a loan, that, to me, that seems like we're paying twice as much for that building. So, I have some serious questions about the building next door. I mean, is there any way you can answer me on to why there was not appraisal on that building?
doesn't have to be.
What do you mean it doesn't have to be? It seems like you're a government entity, and if you're buying it from private individuals, that you would want to have it appraised. And that in order to make sure that our tax funds aren't being squandered or wasted somewhere, that you would want to make sure that the money is being spent adequately.
Yeah.
And I, as a citizen, as a member of this community
Yeah,
that
and
pays
I had
taxes.
evidence to show in relation to a recent appraisal that the price that the building was being offered to was, I would say, substantially less than what it was actually worth. It just so happens that an extremely similar building to that had been appraised within a few weeks or maybe a month or 2.
But it's not the same building. And would you be okay if we got a private individual assessor to go in there on our own, we as a community?
Well, I mean, you're welcome to do whatever you want.
Right.
Bottom line is, this was a smart move for the county, and I'd make it again and again and again, and I'll stand by it regardless. We needed space. We had people in, with offices and closets, and it's a done deal. The commission made the decision, and I'll stand by it. It was a smart move, a good move for this county. We need the space, and we're filling up the space fast. It's done.
That's a matter of opinion, and because
Yeah,
you say
and
it's a
I'm
done
in
deal,
charge
doesn't
right
mean-
now, and it's my opinion.
We're actually in
It's
charge
done.
of you. We're in charge of you. The public is in charge of you, so you have to understand the way that works.
Yeah,
You are
that's
not in
right.
charge of
And
us.
and-
There's a
yeah,
big difference
maybe.
there.
And I was voted in, these commissioners were voted in to make decisions for this county.
Why was the closing cost $50,000? I don't understand how the closing costs. I don't know none of this. I don't know how this works, but $50,000 closing cost seems really high on a $400,000.
Well, I'm not gonna get into the details of
Why
which.
not?
Because I don't have the information in front of me.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay,
documents in
and then once again, one more question. Why are we taking a loan out and paying double? As a taxpayer or citizens, if we take a loan out for $400,000, we're gonna end up paying over 30 years, we're gonna end up paying another $400,000. So that seems like $400,000 that the taxpayer is being robbed of that's going to central bank.
Josh, it was 600,000.
Oh, it was
We're
$600,000.
doing the same reason everybody does, because we've got a budget we have to put together every year, and we've got an entire county to run. We don't have that kind of money to just dump on something.
But doesn't it seem like it's so wasteful that we're gonna light
We've got-
$600,000 on fires as opposed
We've
to
got
taking
a
it and buying it
3.5
first?
That's called
approximately.
capitalism. That's how the entire country works. Every time you take out a loan, of course you end up paying more.
Okay, we'll let Matt ask a question. I'm sorry, I'm done. You guys answered some of my questions. Thank you for at least taking the time I really commend you guys for taking the time to answer my questions. Thank you, I appreciate that. We'll hear from Matt.
So I think I'll just take a little bit of a softer approach. Nothing against Josh, but
I get it.
I don't know, with respect to the previous conversation, I don't know what happened. I don't know what's legal and isn't, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But I will say this. Now, my sister and brother-in-law live at the end of Crater Hill Road. And they've been there for 18 years. And that road has been gated for 18 years up until recently. That's a fact. Now, that doesn't mean it's not a road. I'm just telling you it's been gated. Crater Hill Road often has washouts and potholes all over the place. And so the county maintenance crew drove over those washouts of a known traveled road to go gravel this questionable whatever it is. So you can see how it kind of seems like, almost like kicking sand in someone's face a little bit when that happens. I mean, you can understand what I'm saying.
Look, I'm willing to admit, this looks horrible.
Okay.
But the commission, we have an obligation to uphold what we believe is the laws of this state and the circumstances around it. And look, I've been out there, I looked at this thing. When you've got a,
Why'd you write a letter saying it was? Less than easy.
okay, here's the deal. No one ever brought up to me in June anything about that the county had ever been out there and done anything with this roadway in terms of turning it over to the county. I had no knowledge of that until last week. When I wrote the letter in June, it was only with regard to whether or not a prescriptive easement might exist there. I wrote that letter on this citizen's behalf because obviously all you got to do is look at the aerial photography from 2008, from the 1980s, from the early 1980s. That roadway was always there, and at Larry Coleman's southeast corner of his property, there's a 40-year-old gate there that I've been through in the late 1980s, early 1980s. I've been down that road again and again, and I've been through that gate to cross his property to tie in section corners for other people I'm surveying for. So I was aware of the circumstances with regard to that roadway and the conditions that existed on it all the way back into the 1980s. I wasn't aware until this week that there was any possibility that that was a county roadway.
There's a guy that'll testify that Larry Coleman told him that it was, quote, a county roadway back in May when he was trying to give him a campaign donation.
Okay, that's outside of my scope. Honestly, it is. I react based on the information that is provided to me.
I was just gonna ask, do you think it'd be a good idea, would you put out all of that relevant information that you talked about, so that those of us that are hearing kind of both sides can kind of see that? You know, what you use to make your decision, can you put all of that out there?
Well, I think in the article I released to Lake Sun, I encapsulated it.
Well,
You know, sadly, the entire sequence of events,
well, I'm just talking about what all records and county, that the county has that shows what you're saying.
yeah,
Do
honestly.
you have any records or just the
and
word
see
of
that-
one guy?
Yeah, that's right. I've got the word of one guy.
And
I've
then-
got the word of one guy that was the former road and bridge administrator, and I've got the statute, and I have dealt with probably at least 20, just like this.
I talked to him last week, he said my road was.
That's all I had.
Okay.
So there's an outstanding sunshine request for, you said you had documentation, will that?
Actually, no, are you Laura?
Yes.
Okay, I emailed you, I think on Monday with regard to this.
I'm sorry, I didn't receive it. The only emails that I've gotten are from the road and bridges person.
Okay, well, I emailed you with regard to it on Monday.
Could you
I'll have to go back to, you know, honestly, you emailed our road and bridge department, it was forwarded to me, and I responded back on Monday.
I haven't seen it, so.
Yeah, you
Forward
know,
it.
look, just like the gal that emailed me on Monday, with regard to her road down by the county line, this is all administrative stuff that the commission does. When someone contacts us with regard to a road, we react to it. We try to get everything fixed as soon as we can. So on Monday, when that gal emailed from the county line, I forwarded it, the situation was taken care of, and the lady that was down on the county line said this is the first time in 31 years that anyone had ever responded
I
back.
understand that, and the reason that I sent it to road and
But-
bridges instead of you, just to explain, was because I wasn't questioning a decision that the commission made. I was asking for, I guess I was making
Yeah,
an
I
assumption that
really-
someone would look at something
Yeah,
somewhere.
what I'm trying to do right now, that's why I emailed back to you on Monday.
Okay,
I'm trying to look into, because I really don't know. I don't know what emails may have existed. I don't know what documentation of the interactions exists between our road and bridge department and maybe our commission and in relation to this matter. So the email that I sent to you basically said, we're looking into this, we're going to get back with you very soon, and once we can figure out what exists in relation to it.
okay, if you can just double check the email. My guess is the first letter is, it's a small L, not a capital I, that's.
Well, I responded back to your email, so it should have went right to you.
Maybe then it went to the roads and bridges, because I was never on the email.
Because I hit reply all.
I bet it just went back to the roads and bridges then, because I have not exchanged any emails with you. I only exchanged emails with the roads and bridges. So if you can just follow up after. the
I'm
email.
going to follow up, and what I'm telling you right now is we're going to look into it and see what exists. I just, off the top of my head right now, I don't know whether anything exists or not. Larry Coleman, I think, time flies when you're having fun. But I think it was last week that Larry Coleman came in. Was it last week, or was it 2 weeks ago?
It was after we had a commission meeting, I want to say it was the 8th. I think it might be.
Don, did Larry mention his gravel to you whenever he gave you that donation at all?
No, of course not.
He didn't mention that at all? Sure?
I'm absolutely sure. How many times?
And you didn't, and you were, now, while you're on record here, because if we're gonna trust one person's testimony, I just got one more question. You did not tell the road and bridge guys to go do that road, did you? You recused yourself?
I've already said no. You know,
You've already said no?
I've thought a lot about how I can help you, what I can do. I mean, I can understand if I was in your situation, I'd probably be a little bit upset too. Losing elections is tough. 700 votes, I'd be upset too. You got to get over this attacking me constantly. You got to get over it. The cheese is going to slide.
Hey man, I gave you a pat on the back a couple weeks ago when I heard about your mask not happening. Did I not send you a text that said, hey, good job, Don? I'll pat you on the back when you do right, Don. But when somebody sends me a bunch of stuff saying, this is what's going on and it looks wrong, I'm going.
Yeah.
Nathan, you know what?
I'm going
I
to.
think you need Jesus, I'm gonna pray for you.
It seems, from a outsider's
Honestly,
perspective.
Nathan is speaking for a lot of other people, so for you to throw his election run in the mix.
Yeah, that's
because you
ridiculous,
got a
Dawn. I didn't even
donation
try. I
from
didn't
a guy
spend any
who's
money.
got a
After
gravel
everything that's
road.
been said about me, Gail,
Excuse
I didn't
me?
spend any
after
money.
everything that's been said about me,
You're
What if it
elected
was untrue?
official.
you're upset because I said this?
What if it
No,
was
I'm just
untrue?
saying that Nathan isn't alone in his thinking. It's not just him upset about his,
Well,
I'm not
let me
alone,
just,
I'm not alone in mine either.
Help me
let
right
me
here.
just say this.
I didn't spend a dime. I wasn't trying to beat you, Don. I wasn't trying to beat you. I thought Pat had you, I'll be honest. I thought Pat had you in the back.
Keep telling people that.
I really didn't.
and
Yeah, I
you
did. I
take
didn't
a
spend any
donation
money,
from
Don.
Larry
I didn't
Coleman, who
politic
just
at all.
3 weeks ago got a
I
gravel
was there to
road.
be at the debates.
We, it is 10 o'clock, and I assume that we have property owners here with regard
$60,000
to.
chicken feed.
So we're going
Chicken
to,
feed.
I just, from an outsider's
Chicken
point of
feed, Don.
community, I'm just a
Chicken
third
feed. I made that
perspective.
last month, Don.
From the way I understand it, the way I see it, is that we have roads in place, the property boundaries that are set in line, and which is Nathan's side, and we have your side, which is the testimony of a retired road grader or somebody who worked for the city. So we have two different points of view, and is that where I'm understanding this, is where it lies, is that we have the property boundaries and the clear-cut city lines and what's public and private road, and what's in
Well,
place
no,
now
no,
versus
just,
your
yeah, just
testimony
listen,
of a
just
retired-
listen. This stuff is never clear cut.
It seems,
No,
I'm just
it's-
trying to make it as simple as possible for
We
us
really,
as
as a
that are
commission,
watching.
we don't have any, all we can do is make decisions, but the courts will ultimately decide
I get it.
what is a road and what is not.
So they're
Okay.
gonna have to decide which side.
Yeah, I'm anticipating that that may happen.
Okay, me too.
Okay, folks,
Roadside, what's the follow-up with the lodging tax? Will there be another meeting? They have, do they have
you know,
deadlines?
I have read
Do they have
the,
rules?
I have read the ruling that's come down, and I am anticipating that they have, under their order of the court, that they have to meet with this commission. And I can guarantee you that public meeting will be noticed, just like this one was, so that you'll have an opportunity to see whatever takes place. I was anticipating that taking place this morning, and that's why we put like a 30-minute window there between the P&Z issues and the lodging district. This needs to be solved, it needs to be cleaned up, and we intend to make sure that that
And if
happens.
it doesn't happen in the next 30 days, do you continue to release funds then? Meet with you?
I'll be honest with you,
Okay.
whatever the courts decide, they'll have to,
That's what tells.
yeah. Okay,
Let me, I want to tell you something real quick. This might help you better understand how this stuff works. I've been in office maybe about a year, and I had a guy call me up from out in Stoughton. I want to say it was called Dairy Farm Road, but I could be wrong. But he asked why the county stopped maintaining his road, and of course I had no clue. So I called up I called up the same guy we called about this road, the former road and bridge administrator. He said, yes, we always maintain that road. I was able to contact the guy that graded the road, because he still worked for us at that time. He's since passed away. And he said, yeah, I always graded it right up until a few years ago when the new road and bridge administrator told me to stop. So I told you what the state law is earlier. So I told Road and Bridge, you guys, you gotta get back and maintain it. The last thing we need is more road to maintain. I don't like taking on new roads either. And the county's actually had a moratorium on accepting new roads for.
since 2000.
Yeah.
But that was a named road though, right?
But in that situation, it was a named private road actually. It was actually listed as a
Did
private
public
road.
go on that road?
What?
Did public go on a road, or was it a dead-end road with nobody but one
I
resident
don't
on
know. I
it?
can't-
That's
I
where,
can't remember.
that's where the community is
But let me
really
finish,
upset,
let me
is that
finish.
there's no other, there's just one house on a dead-end road.
It's not
Let me finish. There's another road. This one was just about a year ago. There's like 3 or 4 houses on this road, and then once you go past the houses, it goes down to a cemetery. The county used to maintain it, apparently, and again, I found out about this because the residents called me complaining that the county had stopped maintaining it completely. Apparently, some years ago, again, I called the former road and bridge administrator, I called some guys that used to grade for the county. Apparently, the county used to grade it all the way down to the cemetery. And then at some point, they started grading only to the houses, and they would only go to the cemetery right before Memorial Day. And then they stopped doing that. Then at some point, they stopped grading for the 3 or 4 houses. So I followed the same process. I looked into all those. I got as much information as I could. I told Road and Bridge to start maintaining it again. In this situation, when the farmer called me up and told me about it, I called the road and bridge administrator, the former one. From what he told me, it sounded like it very well could be a county road, but I wasn't gonna be involved in it because he gave me a campaign donation. I said, you're gonna have to come in and talk to my fellow commissioners. I can't make a decision on this. And that's what happened. And that was pretty much the end of my involvement in it right there. So that's, I hope that clears it up for you.
So who told the road and bridge that it was okay then?
After, I actually had a follow-up on that.
And you didn't know about it until after it happened?
I knew about it before they went out to grade it. I did a follow-up with Charlie. Please check with this again. Charlie checked with him again, and based on the information that I had there, I've actually personally never actually talked to the former road and bridge administrator. Charlie called him, Don called him, and based on that information, everything that we had in front of us at the time indicated that it was a county roadway and that it met the requirements of the statute. So I just told Bill, go out and grade the road. It's a county road.
Who took the gate down of that private property?
Okay, yeah, look, I really don't know anything about that. I don't
That's
know.
private
We're just
property
trying to
that
find
just
out
sold and
who authorized
they- somebody took
Yeah,
their gate
well,
down.
you know, I was the guy that said, with everybody sitting there, based on the information that we had there, that indicates to me that it's a county roadway. I'm welcome to be proven wrong, but regardless, when I told them to go out and grade it, basically it was to meet the requirements of the law. If something comes up where information shows that it's not a county roadway, I'm good.
Did you two talk about it before you made that decision? I'm just curious, because the guy.
No, we were actually sitting in front of everybody when this happened.
I'm just saying that the guy went to Don first, Don recused himself, and then it went to you. So the question becomes, did Don talk to you about it before?
No.
You approved
No.
it? I mean, that's just.
No.
It all becomes on you.
Literally,
I was trusting you guys that you didn't.
Yes,
talk,
the
and
day.
The retired.
Yeah, we've got to stop this because we
Okay.
got people here, but I just want to let you know, the day before they went out to grade it is when we made the conversations and made the contacts to find out whether this met the requirements of the statute or not.
One final question: if it's found to be,
oh,
faulty or bad, is it going to?
We're done here with this right
Or the
now.
retired driver? Just curious.
We're done. Okay. I'm going to make a motion to go back into public meeting.
Second.
Those in favor? Yes.
I was already thinking.
Okay,
about
you
second
second
on
it.
this. I
Okay.
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We are back in at 10 after 10 to public meeting. So the next thing up on the agenda is a P&Z rezone of Bayside Properties LLC on Shawnee Bend 5, Lot 38 rezone. Dana, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Okay. This portion of today's County Commission hearing is governed by the Camden County Unified Land Use Code. At this time, I'd like to place with the official record for this hearing these codes as Exhibit A, the official zoning map as Exhibit B, the master plan as Exhibit C, and the case file for each case as Exhibit D for all cases to be heard at this hearing. Each item of business will be addressed as it appears on the agenda unless it is modified. The cases to be heard today are requests for rezoning of property from one zone to another and have already been through the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing process. The presiding commissioner will then inquire as to whether or not the applicant or representative would like to come forward to make any comments concerning the case. Then if anyone in the audience would like to come forward and make any comments, they must first be identified by the presiding commissioner, come to the front of the room, print their name on the sign-in sheet provided, and state for the record their name and address into the microphone. Speaking time will be limited to 5 minutes. At the conclusion of all discussion concerning the case, the public hearing for that case will be closed and the county commission will proceed with a decision. An appeal to these proceedings must be filed with the circuit court. And please turn off your cell phones.
Okay. Is a representative, well.
Would you like to?
Yeah, let's go right into
approve
the.
agenda, please.
Yes, give the outline on it, and then I want to know how we did with regard to the vote of the.
Okay, and then would you approve the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
I'll second.
Those in favor? Motion carries. Okay,
Okay.
first up is PZ 20-0073 Bayside Properties LLC, GSB Investing LLC, rezone R1 to R3. Outline the case.
Okay. The applicant is Bayside Properties LLC. The date of the application was August 25th of 2020. The owner is GSB Investing LLC. Case number is PZ 20-0073. Date of the hearing was October 14th of 2020. The request is to rezone approximately .676 acres more or less from R1 low-density residential to R3 high-density residential. The location is lot 38 of Shawnee Bend number 5. The parcel number is as stated. It's located on Shawnee Bend Road in section 2, township 39 north, range 16 west of Sunrise Beach, Missouri. The property and surrounding properties are zoned R1 low-density residential. The action seeks to rezone approximately 6.76 acres, more or less, from R1 to R3 for future use of a multifamily residential dwelling units. Property was built and platted as a condominium, and the structure was destroyed by a fire in February of 2015. The parcel has road frontage along US Plaza, which is privately maintained. If this request is approved, the following conditions shall apply. The rezone shall conform to all provisions of Article 800 of the Camden County Unified Land Use Code. All applicable provisions of the Camden County Unified Land Use Code shall be complied with, including Camden County Floodplain Ordinance. Prior to any construction of any structures, a zoning construction permit application is required, as well as all proper sign-offs from Camden County Road and Bridge, Camden County Wastewater, and Sunrise Beach Fire Protection District.
Okay. Is a representative of the applicant here?
Okay, and the Planning Commission recommendation was unanimous to approve it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Good morning, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Thomas Roof. I'm a registered architect in the state of Missouri. Our company is TXR Architects and Constructors. Office is located at 101 Crossings West Drive in Lake Ozark, Missouri. And I represent Bayside Properties to correct the ownership of the property. Since the planning and zoning meeting, Bayside has closed on the property and is now the owner of the property as well as the petitioner. Our proposal is to reconstruct the 6-unit condominium building that was destroyed by fire in 2015. The particular property started construction in 2004 prior to the county's adoption of zoning. So it's our position that the property was mistakenly zoned R1 as the R3 project was, again, started construction prior to the county's adoption of the R1 zoning. So we're here simply to recorrect the zoning mistake as we place it from the R1 to the R3. The existing foundation, swimming pool, entry drive, and so forth are existing, and we plan to reconstruct the building atop the existing foundation.
Okay.
The owner of the property, Todd Fisher, representing Bayside, is also here in case the commission has any questions.
Okay, I do have one question. We had a controversy several years back with regard to ADA compliance. I assume that the architectural design of this structure will be ADA compliant?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, in 2016, late 2015, early 2016, after the fire, the owners of the condominium project retained TXR Architects to redesign the plans using forensic drafting to recreate the building as it was constructed for insurance purposes, and that redesign did include code upgrades and the addition of an elevator to the project.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else here that would like to speak on behalf of this project? Proposed zoning change.
I've got some questions.
Okay, is this on behalf of or in opposition to?
It's
it's just questions.
Okay, well, let me just see if there's anyone else that's going to speak on behalf of the project or the proposed rezone. Anyone in opposition? Anyone else that would like to speak? Your turn. State your name and sign in.
And sir, could you speak close to the microphone with a mask? It doesn't record very well.
My name's Charles Lure. My family's had a place over off 1767 Shawnee Bend Road since the early 80s. And what I would like to ask is these are going to be condos or apartments.
Condominiums.
Condominiums. They'll be for sale, of course, I would imagine. They're going to go up for sale when they're done.
I would assume so.
How many, so the plan is to have 6 more units, or 6 units on there?
Correct.
That's not going to change.
Correct.
There's a question in regards to the septic system. Is everything in order on that?
There is a treatment plant on site.
And where does it dump?
I believe that it discharges into the lake, but it's a treatment plant. It's not a septic system.
Okay.
So it's a treatment plant, and it will be monitored by the state in compliance with treatment plants.
And that's all.
It will be brought up to current requirements. Correct.
And that would have to be verified prior to any construction permits being issued.
And let's see here. Can once this is codified, if you will, does it get? Is there any way it can be amended after that point for any odd reason?
Anything can be amended in the future if necessary. It just all depends on the circumstance. We're operating under this particular application right now for a rezone. And that's all this is about, is a rezone.
And as far as boat slips, dock, whatnot, you're going to have a.
There was a dock that existed on the property after the fire. The condominium owners sold the dock and breakwater.
That's an issue beyond the scope of the commission.
Parking situation, is that, when they only had 2 people living in that place, there were times when they were parking up on the road. And, I can't imagine that, getting that thing loaded up with people, families and stuff, on a busy weekend, get pretty tight up there.
But this is specifically in relation to a rezone property from R1 to R3. It's an issue outside of the scope of the commission in this particular case.
Would you like me to address the parking?
Sure.
Okay. The Unified Land Use Code states that a multifamily dwelling must have 2 spaces per dwelling unit. So they would have to have 12 spaces identified.
And before a building permit would be issued.
Correct.
Okay. There you go.
I believe that's all I got.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Okay, is there anyone else here that would like to speak in opposition to this proposed rezone from R1 to R3?
Oh, I did have one other question.
Will you come back up here and just make, for the record, I need this into the microphone.
Why wouldn't R2 suffice for what they're trying to accomplish here?
No. No, we would have to require an R2. That's my understanding. Tana?
Okay. R2 is medium density residential, and that is intended for 2 to 3 family units.
Yeah.
2 to 3 family dwelling units. Anything over the 3 would have to go to R3 to multiple.
Mhm. And there's a bunch of federal laws with regard to that, the ADA and HUD that apply, so that's the difference for the classification.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Okay, anyone else here to speak in opposition or to speak with regard to this property? Hearing none, any conversation or?
Thoroughly satisfied, I would move to approve.
Okay, I'll second that. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. The rezone from R1 to R3 is approved. Thank you so much for everyone coming. We did have information, we had a situation come up that I'm not really clear on the specifics of it with regard to a closed session, RSMO 610021 subsection 3, which has to do with employees. Those have to be closed session if you're going to be talking about someone, but apparently the issue has resolved itself or something, so I'm anticipating that we're not going to be having a closed session in relation to employee matters, and would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move to adjourn.